Zoe with Paranormal Extraction, and yes, we have some really cool things going on today because I have someone in person instead of on Zoom. Thank God. And you're all gonna want to know about these supernatural paranormal experiences he has. But he also has 3 books out. Yes, 3, and I've read all 3. The Moths of Autumn, which is really, really good. It's like supernatural, paranormal, metaphysical, Wiccan. So if you're into those kind of books, that's that one. We also have The Last Breath, and he's done some incredible artwork in here if you want to see. This is all incredible artwork that you definitely want to see that book. Also we have Calatenna is the name of this one, with little short stories, and then also the drawings of what each story is about. And so we have John. Here we go. All right. So hey, John.
Thanks for having me, Zoe.
Hey, thanks for being here. Okay, so let's just talk about, I know we can find these books on Amazon.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'm just really glad you're here in person. I just got really, really lucky that you live in
right down the street.
Right down the street.
Yep.
We just happened to, he just contacted me, and lo and behold, this is absolutely wonderful. So you can find your books on Amazon, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay, and so it's The Moths of Autumn, and I'll write this in the what it's about.
Okay.
So
great.
then that way they can find it. The Last Breath and Calatenna, if anyone's interested. And so we have somebody here that's actually normal, okay, kind of, and he has some really great stories. So let's, John, let's start talking about maybe one of your stories, or if you want, you could talk about your books. You can talk about anything.
Sure. Just a quick synopsis on the history of this whole project right here. It started about 10 years ago. August 2011, with just a few different artwork ideas that I had, which evolved into some of the short stories. You know, got them self-published through Kindle. It was it's now Kindle Direct Publishing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Before that, it was Create Space.
Right.
Yeah. So self-published, a little bit of effort, but it was a whole team of us that actually came together to make these books happen.
Right.
Yep.
And how long did it take you to do all 3 books?
Oh God, maybe about 4 years total. Okay.
Well,
so,
that's amazing.
So between 2011 to 2015, that's when all this actually happened right here. So
right.
Started out with the drawings, and then I decided to put short stories, almost like flash fiction, to each drawing right there. Just a quick 1-page read where I kind of leave the endings open, because that way it encourages the reader to use their imagination. It's like, okay, what happened? So they can then be part of the story. So they can, they can then write their own ending right there. They can then take the story and run with it.
Right, and run with it. And I really like this book right here because it's a novel.
Yeah,
and
that was a stretch for me.
That was a stretch for you.
Yeah.
But you wrote this because it was a story that you really wanted. You wanted to write because it was something you were really into.
Yep. So that's a story that I always wanted to read right there.
Right.
So therefore.
And that's a great book.
Thanks.
Kind of scary.
I appreciate it.
Kind of a little spooky.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but I try to follow that that classic storytelling formula where it's a quick read, introduce the characters, the setting, the action, and then it's like slowly build up to the climax, and then end it. But it's almost like a cliffhanger ending, because with that last phone call,
yes,
that happens, that that you pretty much know who it is on the other end, okay? But it's that's gonna be the next book, so
right.
We'll find out.
I'm looking forward to the next book, and I was quite impressed by the research that you did. And you have to really know about Wiccan or evil or what you talked about in here.
Demon manifestation.
And you really know. You knew about like the demon manifestation and all that.
Where it actually comes from. It's a deconglomeration of just decades of just bad things happening. all that bad energy that happens, okay, you know, whether it's the Holocaust or massive wars or whatever, all that negative energy, you know, of all those people dying, you know, horribly, you know, at the hands of evil intent. Okay, where does that go? That's got to go somewhere,
Right.
and that is going to coalesce. You know, it's going to create almost like its own, like, you know, like a fire creates its own weather system.
Right.
So like all that negative human energy that's going to come together, and it's going to be very awful, and it will create an entity of its own. And once people start giving it a name and, you know, a picture, okay, you know, it's going to feed on that.
Right.
So
right.
that you know, I could be wrong, but that's my personal take on how, you know, how you have like very bad demonic energies.
Right. That's exactly what it was about. It was excellent. So I know.
So I try to explain that in there.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do. You do a very good job, and it's something that you don't want to put down. But
thank you.
So I know that you've had some paranormal, supernatural experiences, and so what? I mean, obviously you have, because there's stuff in the book about it. So you would know what kind of experiences have you had?
First, I'd like to say I think that there's nothing paranormal or supernatural in this world, but there's laws of physics that we do not understand yet, because these things do happen. Okay.
Right.
And if we can take things like that seriously, we can approach it on a scientific basis, I guess, and we can, you know, figure out, okay, you know, why did that object just move over there? Okay, you know, why did this happen? Why did that, you know, why did the phone call happen just when I was, you know, happened to be thinking about this person?
Right.
And skeptics want to, you know, they want to debunk that. It's like, oh, it's just coincidence. It's that. No, it's like, you know, you're just afraid of like looking into like how these things happen.
Right.
So there needs to be a new, I guess, like scientific paradigm shift, and like, you know, looking at things as, okay, there is an explanation, you know, for like this presence that I now feel in this room, or like, you know, whatever happened over there. Mm-hmm. That doesn't. There's not a scientific explanation as we know it yet, but there is, and that's why I embrace this, and that's why I think I'm very open to it. And that's why, you know,
that
it
you
happens.
have these experiences.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, because I'm open to it, and I think it happens to like pretty much everyone. But a lot of people, it happens, and, you know, it defies their belief system, so they shut it out. You know, they don't process it. They forget it. Yeah. Because they're afraid of it.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So how did this start, or what do you? I mean, you have a ton of stories. I know that you and I have already talked about a lot of these stories, but you had a few that you were going to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. So none of this. I didn't notice anything until the first instance that I recall was May of 1990, and this was back in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, and my sister Jody and myself, we were sitting at a kitchen table, you know, in the house that we lived in. And, you know, the rest of the family, you know, my dad, brother, you know, his new wife, you know, they were out, you know, doing other stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're just sitting there, you know, hanging out. It's a little cool. May in Wisconsin, you know, it's still kind of cold. You got the, you know, lake breeze, you know, coming in like that. So all the windows were shut. Okay. You know, it was very quiet. You know, so we're just, you know, sitting around, you know, having a couple beers, you know, talking, whatever.
Right.
So she's she was 4 years. Younger than me. She actually just passed away last week. So, you know, we'll get it. Yeah, which I didn't tell you about. So we'll get into that. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't. Okay. You know, I just found out like a week ago.
Now
so.
I know why you didn't show up.
Yeah.
For that day.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew it was something bad. We had him actually scheduled for last week, and something really bad happened, but he didn't tell me. So obviously, my condolences on that one.
Yeah, this was.
I'm very sorry.
But
what happened?
Okay, so with this instance, myself and my sister Jody, you know, we're sitting at a table pretty much like this. You know, it's very quiet. You know, older house, that kind of thing. And little by little, I started to feel like there's more people in the room than there was. Uh-huh. Okay, you know, just, you know, there was like, you know, when there's like people, you know, everyone has a certain energy. You know, like, you know, it's almost like a barometric pressure change.
Right.
With more people.
You're very sensitive to that.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm just, you know, we're talking, and, you know, I'm like, you know, looking around. It's like, okay, you know, I know it's just us in here. You know, like, you know, in this upstairs, you know, apartment, you know, house, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I finally said to her, Jody, hey, does it feel like there's more people in here, than just us? And she's like, yeah, I've been noticing that too. I'm like, okay. You feel, and like the air was like very thick, very close, but it wasn't cold, it wasn't hot, it was just charged.
Yeah.
Basically, almost like static electricity in a way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we're like, okay, what's going on here? So, we're like looking around, we don't see anything, we don't have any pets, so there wasn't like a dog like laying there, panting or anything.
Right.
So, finally I'm like, okay, hey, we don't know who you are, what you're doing here, but we acknowledge that you are here. So, if you can you do something, show us, so we know that it's not our imagination.
Right.
As soon as I said that, there's a countertop right next to the table that we're sitting on, and there was like a stack of picnic napkins.
Right.
Or something very light, but a very noticeable thing.
Yeah.
As soon as I said that, it's almost like a breeze came through the room, and it lifted up like 3 or 4 of these like on the corner like this. Okay, something just like blew through it. Okay, and we both saw it happen at the same time. We looked at each other like. Okay, that just happened. You saw it, I saw it, we both saw this, right? And immediately I look at the window was closed because it's kind of cold outside. So there was no fan blowing,
there was no
nothing.
Draft,
nothing.
There was nothing.
Nothing.
So you guys were actually talking about the energy in there feeling heavy.
We felt that it was there
and felt something was there.
Acknowledged it.
Acknowledged
so
it.
Detection, acknowledgement, and then interaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So that's pretty cool. So what did you do after that? Were you guys freaked out?
No. It was like a really pleasant experience. It didn't freak us out. We didn't go running from the room because we're not like that anyhow. And so I acknowledged, okay, thank you for doing that. I don't know how much energy that took, but
that's great.
Yeah. So I appreciate you showing us that, that you can do that. We don't know who you are, but solid. Okay, thank you for that.
Right.
And then soon after that, within maybe a couple minutes, we could feel when it left, right? Because the air got back to its normal density.
Yeah.
I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Jody, okay, that whatever that was, did you feel it leave? She's like, yeah, because now the air was normal. Like,
right.
We need another beer, or like whatever. All right?
Yeah.
But then a little while later, it came back briefly because we could feel when it came back, and then it was gone. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah. So I want to say that was like May. It was like May 5th, 1990. It was a Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
the next, I know that.
Oh God,
you got so many stories.
There's a bunch of them. Yeah.
So what's your next favorite story?
Oh God. So
I know that you didn't want to talk about the UFOs.
Yeah, that's totally.
That's classified.
Well, to me, that's off camera, off record subject because there's a lot to that. It's very controversial, and there's a lot of other things that go along with that,
Right.
and especially now with the government,
Yes.
coming out, declassifying things. Okay,
Yes.
they are up to something, and I don't trust it.
Okay.
At all, and so
Right.
We'll talk about that off
Right.
camera.
Yeah, that's off
Yeah,
camera.
please.
Okay. So what's?
Yeah.
I just thought
Yeah.
I'd bring that up. That's off. Yeah. So he also has other
Cool.
things that
Wow.
And as you guys know, I don't know if you know, but we had the UFO guy on, and his video they didn't allow it to be posted
Yeah, recently.
on Facebook. So they banned his video, and he was talking about the government and all of that. So they actually did ban
Oh
us.
yeah. That's a totally like I won't even so.
Right. So what's your next?
Okay.
Yeah.
So another one that really stands out. I mean, so that was May of 1990. About a year and a half after that, I went back in the U.S. Army. Okay, and I'm stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and it was myself and another guy, also from Wisconsin. His name was Brian Oberbeck, a good friend of mine. So we were participating in survival training exercises in a place in North Carolina. It's in the Uwharrie National Forest, not too far from Camp McCall, and the nearest town is called Troy. Okay, and at the time that this incident happened, I didn't know anything about Sasquatch sightings or Bigfoot or anything like that in that part of the country, because I always thought that was like, more Northwest, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, never heard anything about anything like that down there. Okay.
Right.
But it's very hilly, a lot of pine trees, forest,
Not a
hollows.
lot of people around then.
No, it's a lot of farmers, a lot of tobacco, a lot of green beans, that kind of thing.
Right.
So how the story goes is that we were set up at night. We're supposed to be waiting for a group of other survival students to be coming through this area, so we could simulate being like the opposing force, like the almost like enemy soldiers. Okay, so that we could have them have the experience of being like chased and like shot at with blanks. Okay,
Oh, okay.
In the middle of the night, because these guys are they're basically on the run for like a week, and they have to live off the land. But it was our job to be basically almost like hunt them down and be the opposing force.
Oh, wow.
So they know what it's like to be on the run, starving, survival, and also have enemy combatants like in their area. Just like blanks, grenade simulators,
Right.
that kind of thing. So this is our job to do that. So we're all set up like all over these different areas. So where we were, whenever power lines are cut through a forest, you have like that big like forest
Right,
cut area
exactly.
like that, the power lines like that.
Right.
So we were set up in there right there, according to the map, the operation, the whole time, that you're supposed to be coming by. So this was like November 1991, and it was a Tuesday night. And it's getting dark out, maybe around 10 o'clock, 10:30, something like that. So I'm keeping watch. My buddy Brian, he's sleeping, and the moon is out, clear night. Okay, very quiet. Okay, you can't hear like any traffic, anything like that. And out of the clear blue, okay, I hear this screech coming from the wood line, not too far from us, just like nothing I've ever heard. Okay. Just like loud and pissed off and whatever it was. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin, being out in the woods at night, that kind of thing, and so is Brian. So,
Right, and you're also in the military, so
Yeah.
I mean, you're used to noises.
yeah, just
and
anything clear
So
blue,
this is-
so
suddenly.
suddenly
This thing was just
It's
something you'd never heard.
something I've never heard. Okay, and it almost sounded to me it's like a combination of like if almost like if a car hit its brakes
Right.
as it's hitting a dumpster.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it was like screechy and like loud. It was like a loud screechy impact sound. Okay,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'm like, holy crap, Brian, wake up! Did you hear that? But he was already up. Okay, so now we're both up. We got our weapons at the ready. But we got
Oh my
blanks.
God.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we're like, okay, we don't know what this thing is. Okay, we don't have live ammo, but like whatever it is, maybe we can scare it off, or we're gonna piss it off. One of the two.
Right.
Yeah. So we're like, what is this thing? And then we hear it again, okay?
Uh-huh.
And we're like, all right, what is that? Okay, no, it's it's not. Okay, so we run down, an instant list of like anything it could be, okay?
Right.
We're like, okay, if it's it could be a panther, mountain lion,
Right.
because they do have like rare mountain lions sightings back there.
Uh-huh.
Okay? We're like, maybe not. Okay, is it a boar? Is it like a wild boar? Because it could be like that also.
Right.
So we're like, is it this? We know it's not a deer or a raccoon because they don't make noises
Right.
like that. Yeah. So we're like, okay, let's start moving. Like let's get away from this thing. So we're like right in the middle of this big cut, which is maybe about 50 yards in width, like this.
Uh-huh.
So the tree line is over here, and we're like walking away, and whatever this thing is, okay, it's starting to track us. Like so, and it's loud. Okay, so it's like crashing through brush
Oh,
and like
that's how you heard. So like loud crashing.
Well, the initial sound that we heard, it was a very loud vocalization. But I don't know if it was like a breaking, like rocks or a branch or something. At
Right.
the same time, it did it. So as we're moving, we can hear this thing moving along, along with us, okay? And it's still making these noises as it's going along, and we're like terrified at this point. Like what?
Right.
This it's like Predator, okay? This thing's
Right.
like tracking us.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we're like, all right, this thing's not cool. And so we immediately ruled out, okay, it's it's not a large cat because a large cat, mountain lion, panther, it's not going to be breaking branches. Those things are silent when they move. Okay.
Right.
And we're pretty sure it's not like a large boar or a pig or anything like that because they're usually not nocturnal. Okay. So whatever this thing is, okay, it's very loud and it's like it knows that we're there and we're we're in its area. So we're like, okay, we're out of here. So we head back to our little base camp. We got the Humvees, a couple trucks, and the guy who's in charge of us, his name was Epley, Sergeant Epley, and also from Wisconsin. Okay, it was weird, all three of us. So there was a whole group of maybe 12 of us out there, doing support for this. Right. So everyone's kind of coming back like, hey, Sergeant Epley, we just ran into there's an animal out there. Okay, we don't know what it is, but it's weird and it's pissed off. Okay, so it was over there, so we're not going back over there. It's like, okay, all right, you guys settle down, drink some water, get an MRE, and then we're gonna set you out over here. So we got the map and the flashlights and everything. Okay, so we're gonna set up over here. Okay, roger that. All right. 20 minutes later, Brian and myself, we head out to this new area, which is maybe about a mile away from the original area, that where the road cut was. Right. So now where we're set up, it's right on the edge of a big tobacco or bean field. I forget which, but I know it's we got really wet walking through it because the plants are very high.
Right.
It's nighttime, dew and everything. So we set up on the edge of this field and this huge massive swamp tangled brush area. Okay, it's just huge. So maybe it's now I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30. Now it's my turn. I'm trying to sleep a little bit. Okay, and Brian's up, and I'm just laying there. Our hearts are still pounding. All right, because we're fuck. What was that thing? Right. So now, all right, he's on watch. I'm laying there trying to sleep. Okay. We hear something come up behind us. It sounded like a very fast moving, like a heavy person, okay? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Right. And it stops, right on the edge of where we're at.
Oh my God.
And, he's up already, flashlight, I'm up already, okay, flashlight, guns, the whole thing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Take the red lance off the flashlight, so we want, full, white light, shining into this area. Okay. Yeah. And you could not go 3 or 4 feet into this mess, without getting stuck. Yeah. I mean, it was so thick. I mean, it was like that. I mean, right. You don't see that too much out here, but back east and down south, there's a lot of swampy, thick areas like that. Right. So whatever this thing was, it knew how to move through that kind of underbrush and terrain, and then just vanish. Okay, so what now, based on that experience, what do you think? We know was it a Sasquatch? Was it whatever it was? We knew it was the same thing that we ran into earlier that night, and it either tracked us or picked up on on our scent, and it was just making its presence known, and hey, this is my area, and you guys are trespassing. Yeah, warning shot, get out. Right. Okay. So after that, we're all right, back to the trucks. Hey, Epley, we're out, man. Okay, everyone, in the trucks and the Humvees, we're getting out of here, okay? Yeah. And he knew that we were serious. And okay, you guys aren't screwing around, okay? All right, everyone, we're heading back. All right? Yeah. So we went back to Camp McCall, and I still remember, like the entire sequence of events, like it was yesterday. So, what do you think? To me, it sounds like a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot or. Yeah, it was. So you have the picture in your book. So that story is where that picture comes from. Oh, okay. Let me see. So that is my version of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. So I call these things tamaracks. Okay. All right. And why tamarack? Because that's my favorite tree. Oh, okay. Yeah. In Wisconsin, I spent a lot of time in the tamarack and pine forest at night, just walking around. So it just got a cool name to it. But that is how I see those things. Or I don't see them as huge ape-like pointy-headed creatures. I think they're more like that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And next time we get together, I'll bring over the entire 13-piece tamarack set, and then I can. Explain to you, how I think these things operate. So right. Awesome. Well, that's cool. Very cool. Yeah. So that'd be great. Yeah. It's a creature of unknown origin. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it was definitely real. And this is going back to what I said earlier at the beginning of this. you know, it's not supernatural or paranormal, but it's those things are operating on a level that we don't know how, you know,
There you go.
how they can move and just vanish like that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. No one can find any trace of them. But then again, when people are out in the woods, people are like super noisy. You know, even the most skilled woodsman or hunter, they're still going to be very noisy. You know, they're going to give off their own scent, and you know that's why we rarely see these animals out there. So for anyone to say, you know, like, you know, it's impossible, you know, we would have found them by now. Well, you know, you're a dumbass because you don't know everything. How about that?
Right, exactly.
Yep, and that's why, you know, when we talk about this segment right here,
Right.
it's like what we don't know.
Right, it's the same thing. You're talking about just like the napkins, but
Yeah.
people don't believe it.
Yeah,
So,
it happened. Okay, let's
Right.
figure out how that happened.
well, and the fact is that you have, it's not like you're just saying you're walking in the forest and you just all of a sudden heard these branches. It's like you were in the military. You were actually positioned in a place where something like this wouldn't happen.
Yeah, normally.
Plus
Yeah.
you have the
I have a-
brains
I have
to
a
know what
little
kind of sounds it is.
question. After that incident, did the Wisconsin boys get together and chat about it? And of course,
Yeah.
and try to figure it out. But did any of the other units that had to do that particular duty run into it, or was
No.
it just you? They were coming and your Wisconsin guys.
You know what? I think that there may be something to that. I'm not sure, but you know, there, you know, it was me, Brian, you know, and then, you know, the guy who's in charge of us. You know, we're you know, I'm from Milwaukee, and those guys were from like Oconto and Green Bay. So you know, we're all, you know, on the eastern side of the state, close to Lake Michigan. So I don't know if there's like a weird connection there somehow.
Interesting.
But yeah, there's
Very interesting.
definitely something there though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. So you've had interesting experiences,
That's
okay?
yeah.
So you had a paranormal experience. Now we're talking about a Sasquatch or
Some-
Yeti or something,
you know,
some
you know,
creature
a
of
cryptid, you know, unknown. You know.
a creature of unknown
Yeah.
origin.
Yeah, and there's so many things out there because you know, a lot of disbelievers you know, they really have no concept how old this planet is. Okay, it's you know approximately 4.5 billion years old,
Right.
and you know there's 95% of the life that has ever existed on this planet is now extinct. Okay,
Right.
but or it's considered extinct, but you know what if some of those things, you know, still survive and you know they still evolve, and like we see them occasionally, but you know everyone disbelieves, so like, oh, that thing doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and one of my arguments, really not an argument, but it you know, it would be more like a counter statement. When someone says, hey, I don't believe in that, that's not possible, I'm like, okay, check it out. How old are you? And you know, okay, you know, I'm like, you know, he's like, you know, like 47 or 22 or like, you know, 89 years old. Okay, you know, whoever it is, you know, who's saying this, you know, that's the first thing I ask. Okay, how old are you? Okay, all right, okay, you know, I'm 8 or 9. All right. So if you're like, you know, 89 years old, let's say, you know, you have about 87 years of like actual perception in, you know, in your current life cycle.
Right.
Because like, you know, everyone starts, you know, remembering things when they're about 2 years old.
Right.
So, you know, you don't have 89 years of memory, you have like about 87 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, so in your whole like 87 years of like, you know, your very like, you know, limited experience, you know, on this planet, you're gonna tell me that you know everything that there is to know about this world and like how everything operates, and that usually shuts them down pretty quick.
Oh, right. Very good.
Yeah.
I like that comeback.
Yeah, because it's that unbridled ignorance and arrogance, you know, that stops investigating things like this.
The pseudo,
Right, exactly.
the pseudoscience they don't
Right.
believe.
Yeah. To them, it's very fringy, and it's not, because you know
No.
the people who make it fringy, you know, you can pretty much tell who they are, right?
Right, exactly.
You know, the charlatans, you know, the frauds or whatever.
Right, frauds.
Yep. But I'm sorry.
No, I'm just gonna say, you were telling us a story before we started this interview about something more local, like
Yeah.
something that happens up at the UNR campus or
Absolutely,
in
yeah.
the area. You were beginning to tell us about the Virginia Street gym
Yep.
incident that you.
So the Virginia Street Gym, that's one of
But
the old.
this is at UNR,
Yep.
University of Nevada Reno.
Yeah.
It's the college here. And if you don't know, it's supposed to be one of the most haunted colleges,
Yeah,
I think, in the United States. And a lot of people haven't been able to get in there and do any kind of paranormal research.
Yeah, I've never seen
or-
anything on it, actually.
Right, so there is nothing on it. But so here we are.
Okay.
We're with somebody that's actually been there and knows about these different kind of paranormal activities that have happened there.
Yeah.
So we got pretty lucky.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll do what I can to get you guys there. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I worked there for about a year and a half. This was back in 2015 to 2016, and I was part of the telephone department. So we had access to every building and every room on campus, because we had to, for hooking up phone lines, where things are running.
Right.
And the old part of the campus around the quad area, very old buildings, okay, dating from like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and there's a lot of written stories about those. So I'm not going to go over those right there. But the first incident I had there was in a place. The old gym was built in 1942. Right when World War II was going on.
Right.
So, and it was actually at that time it was being used for troops transitioning from the States over to the Pacific Theater. So,
oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, there was a lot of coming and going back and forth there.
Wow.
In that gym. And so, huge, beautiful old building. Okay, a lot of little rooms that you would not know that they were there unless you actually had access to them. So. My supervisor at the time was like, we had been talking about things like this. So he's like, hey John, I think you're gonna like this. So I gotta show you this room because for one, it's pretty cool, and two, you're gonna need to know where the actual phone blocks are. So like when you change out phones in this building, this is where you got to go. But like in case you're here like by yourself and I just want to give you a warning and a heads up about this room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
now, is this room like you're underground or something?
No, well, it's actually on
access.
It's actually on the ground level itself. So it's like off to the it's off to the side the corner of the building, and it's what they call a mechanical room. Okay, so you'll have pipes and telephones, electrical, all kinds of stuff in there. So like every room on that campus always has like one mechanical room where like all the heating elements and everything go through, everything like that.
Right.
Yep. And in the older buildings, you find like a lot of like old weird stuff in there. Okay, hidden like steam tunnels, just stuff that's like not on the blueprints. All right.
Really?
Yes. So
what happened when you went in there?
So this place right here, okay, we go in, we enter. So when you walk in, it's maybe a section of about 20 feet that goes like this, and then it's kind of L-shaped. So the area that we had to get to was like right around the corner, all right? So there, there's like pipes and electrical panels and all kinds of crap like that going on. So my buddy Jed, he's like, okay, all right, this is the place. All right, I'm not gonna say anything. Just like give me your impression like as soon as we turn around this corner.
Okay.
So we go around the corner, and like I kid you not, as soon as you going this way, as soon as you turn the corner, there's another 10, 20 feet of like space, dusty like that. Okay, it's like the air was just bristly. All right, it was like
what do you mean by bristly?
Like your hair, okay? like static. Okay, it was.
It felt staticky.
Yeah, it felt like a cold static.
Oh, okay, cold static.
Yeah, a very cold, vibrant, humming static. Okay, you couldn't hear anything, but you could damn sure like feel it. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm like, whoa! It's like basically like you can like walk into a wall of this, but whatever it was, like you could back out, you didn't feel it. Okay.
Oh.
You could like walk into it again. Okay, and it was there. I mean, invisible, but like definitely tangible.
Okay.
Something like a field. Okay, almost like a barometric magnetic field in a way.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and he's like, okay, you feel, and then he looks at me and he's like, okay, so it's not just me, you sense that, right? And like, yeah, like what the hell is that? And it's like, it's in that corner down here, okay? And so in the corner, and this is why he wanted to show me, because like right where like whatever this thing was coming from, that's where like our phone block is, where I would need to be like working on things, okay?
Right.
And like after that, I never like going into that room by myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
it was that bad.
Yeah, so I'm glad he told me about this, but whatever it was centered. So right in the corner of where this room is, there was like a wooden cover that went down to like 4 or 5 feet. Where there's
you had to get in that?
No,
okay.
I didn't have to get into that. Okay, but that's where this was like definitely centered in. Okay.
Okay.
And
I get it.
Yeah, so there was a pipe going down through the cover, through this wooden cover down into the hole itself, and around that pipe, it's like a square hole, so I could shine a flashlight down there, and actually see, okay, it didn't go down very far,
Right.
Went down like maybe 5 feet, and then there was like another area that there was like pipes or whatever. So so the subflooring in that old building, it's like a crawl space with all the heating, hot water and cold water pipes, for the entire building. That's just how they build it, so it was done in 1942, but they probably started construction like 1939, something like that.
Okay.
So that's just how they built that building at that time.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So underneath the floor of that gym, the entire building has a crawl space about like that, which like guys would have to like go into and like fix things.
Right.
So this is like the entire building has like like a sub crawl space basement.
So you had to go in this and you felt this.
No, so
you felt the impression. So what happened after that? After you felt this
so
charge of energy that was the wall that you walked through.
okay, so I started taking pictures of this, and I think I sent you those too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw that.
So took a bunch of pictures, just see if anything would show up on camera. Okay.
Right.
And the majority of the pictures I took that day, okay, nothing showed up except for those 3 shots that I sent you of that like black smoke shadow.
Right.
Like coming from that wooden covering right there.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's not a shadow because there was nothing there to cast a shadow. All right. And,
Right.
and it was very nebulous, but it was very black and elongated.
Right.
And like as I it was a digital camera, so as I'm taking a picture, okay, I can see if there's anything there or not. All right, click, 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 and like those 3 shots, okay, I took and it showed up immediately, but I'm looking at the spot and there's nothing there, but it showed
Right.
up on camera.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think was there a flash on the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think it was from the flash?
No, it can't be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be because the whole area would be lit up
Yeah. Exactly.
instead of with the black mass that I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So all the pictures I took since then, those are the only 3 shots that has ever shown up.
wow.
Yeah, and
Okay.
same camera, and like Jed would take pictures with his camera too.
Okay, so that never happened again. So what do you think that was? Do you think it was like some type of apparition? Do you think it's is it demonic? Is it is something stuck down there, spirit, haunting?
I'm
What
not.
is it that you think that possibly it might be?
We don't think it's anything like a passed on soul. We think it's something that's from somewhere else.
Like a portal.
Yeah.
So you think it's a portal?
That's the impression that we had, because it wasn't exactly negative, but it wasn't but it wasn't good. It's not like it's like a beehive. Okay, you don't want to be around it.
Right.
Okay, because it's not gonna mess with you unless you really start poking it.
Right. Well, that would make sense that it's a portal because of all the other activity that goes on at UNR.
Oh yeah.
So that, to me, that would be a portal of energy that you went into, but you didn't want to be in it.
Yeah.
And then you saw whatever you saw as a part of that, and it doesn't
No
really look
explanation.
like a spirit, the photo,
No.
or anything. It just looks like kind of like moving energy. So
Something, yeah, and it happened to show up dark, and every time I've been in that room since then, it was still there, but sometimes it would be as strong. Other times it wouldn't be. I like barely notice it, but it was always like right there, because that spot is like right next to where I had to like pull wires, like re-punch in phone lines. Okay,
Right.
so I would get in and out of there like as fast as I could, because
Okay.
I did not like being in there.
Right, so I mean, you've been actually in enough of these areas in UNR when you worked there.
Yeah.
So it's not like all of a sudden you went into this room and you felt this. This is something that was definitely a different energy than any of the other places
Yeah.
that you went into.
Yeah, even all the other older mechanical rooms in that older part of the campus itself, nothing else had that same feel to it. Okay.
Right.
Other places, were kind of creepy just because they're dark, or one time in the first time I was in the basement of Memorial Hall, which is the main building right there. Flashlight, it's dark. There's like no light like where I'm working, and unbeknownst to me at the time, there was an air compressor down there that that goes off every like 20 minutes. Okay.
Right.
So like I'm down there, and this is like I think the day after I've been like into that gym, so
Yeah.
I'm a little like
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. So
Ambivalent.
yeah. So I'm a little edgy about like these dark areas now. Okay.
Okay,
Right?
yeah, because of what happened to you.
Yeah. So I'm working out there with a flashlight, and this air compressor goes off, and like if you ever heard an air compressor like in a very quiet, dark room go off that you don't know it's there. Okay. Yeah, it'll give you like a seizure. All right.
Yeah.
Well-
Okay. All right.
It used to happen to me all the time when,
Okay. Then yeah.
when I was airbrushing.
Okay. It's very loud and sudden. It's a very yeah.
So it definitely it wasn't anything like that. It's so.
Yeah. So back to that right there. We don't know what it was. What it is, and I'm sure it's still there. It's because like I think whatever things like that are, time doesn't matter to it, whatever it is.
Right.
It's very irrelevant. So I'll guarantee you that thing is still in there.
Right, and we discussed there's actually a book about UNR's hauntings or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, we get a chance to go with John here and somebody that works there to do our own deal there and go through all of these different rooms that are supposedly haunted.
Hopefully, September, October. That's what we're working for.
Yeah, to be able to get in there, which you haven't really seen these on any shows or anything,
Nope.
so we're going to get a chance to do this.
Yeah,
which
I
is
think it
pretty
needs to be
cool.
done. I think it needs to be done.
That's cool.
It's going to be really, really
It's
cool.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's a great experience. I love working there, and that's probably the most memorable incident that I've had there. There's been other places where we're other basements or tunnels, mechanical rooms, that kind of thing, where you just know that there's something around you, but not as strong as that one though.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, you didn't. Since you've been there, there's been no other occurrences than this, where you actually saw or you felt anything else except for this, and that's the story is because this was so intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest one right there. And I've got one more I'd like to share with you. Okay.
Okay.
And this. So I told you earlier. Before and you didn't know this. My sister passed away last week. Okay. So no one knew until like last Saturday. Because like no one had heard from her. For like a good 3 or 4 days. Right. She lives by herself in a little apartment in Quincy in California. So my mother and 2 sisters and nephew and niece, they all live up there in a few different places. Okay, and we're all like are pretty close. Get together. I have not actually seen her since Christmas, Christmas Eve. But we talk on the phone, whatever, and she's been having health problems, heart issues, whatever, that kind of thing. But so I get a call from my other sister last Saturday afternoon, saying that they had just found Jody. She looks like she's been like gone for like a couple days. No one had.
Oh my God.
No one had heard from her. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Now, here's where things get interesting, right? So like I didn't know this until last Saturday, probably about 5:37, in the afternoon.
Right.
Like quite a shock, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But Thursday, okay, all right. Thursday, we were doing work near in the Marlette Lake District, which is the area between Washoe Valley and Lake Tahoe. Very beautiful mountainous area. So Southwest Gas has a pipeline that goes through there. So we're trying to upgrade some of the communications there. It's like very beautiful, very a remote mountain area. Okay, a lot of dirt roads.
Right.
And so we're up there Thursday afternoon. Me and 2 other guys, and I'm taking compass readings on some of the radio towers like off in distance, so we can aim the antennas a little bit better. And between I'd say between 2:30 and 4 o'clock. Okay, I start getting this impression of something that was like really, really familiar, and it felt like, I don't know if you guys like when you were like very young, okay, 2, 3 years old, if you guys ever had like impressions of that place that we came from before we were actually here, okay, like that non-physical place that we came from.
Right.
It's a very I don't know, agape, I think is the word. It's almost like unconditional love something that you don't know exactly what it is, but
Right. You feel it.
Yeah, you feel it. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people for that is God or heaven or whatever your brand of religion is.
Right.
But it's that source feeling.
So you felt that.
So I have not felt that. I would say since I was about two and a half years old. Okay. Like back when you're still like that close to that source.
Right.
So and I couldn't tell if it was just like the condition, the weather itself, because there was impending thunderstorms. We could hear a rumbling, up in the mountains behind us, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning. I was like, okay, is it that? Does this remind me of being, back in like Fort Gordon, Georgia? Because I'm out there in the woods. There's like pine trees, a little bit of sand and rocks, and I got a compass. So like, I don't know if it was like an old like familiar like pleasant memory of like me going through like radio school
Right.
like back in like 1986, and that's what I thought it was. Okay. Because it was something very comforting, and just like, wow, like I can't put a finger on this. Okay.
Right.
I don't know what this feeling is, and I even texted my ex-wife Andrea. I said, hey, I'm having like the best day of my life. Like we're out here in the woods, the whole thing. But there's something going on which I cannot put a finger on. Okay,
Right.
like, I'm having like a certain feeling about something.
Right.
So we left there. Okay, and then it wasn't until I found out last Saturday afternoon, that she had passed away, and like obviously like in a state of shock, and then I'm thinking about what if she wasn't around,
Right.
okay,
For that 3 days.
and
That 3-day period.
yeah, and then I'm starting to put two and two together. I was like, I'll bet she passed Thursday afternoon when I was having that impression of like
Right.
it's almost like the the gateway or portal between like us and the other side was like thin enough because like she was crossing over at that time,
Right.
and I picked up on it. Okay.
Right, exactly. Or
Okay.
she wanted you to know.
Yeah. And like I did not know, like so the next couple of days, I'm just like, wow, that was a great day, something like
Right.
passed through me, okay?
Wow.
And then to find out, so we still got to get the official like autopsy report back, right?
Okay.
But talking to my mom a few days, after all this, okay, she said Thursday night, okay, unbeknownst to her that that Jody had
The
passed.
same day that you felt the unconditional love.
Yep.
Okay.
Same day. She was in her kitchen, making coffee for the next day, and she felt like a confused negative presence next to her, that was so strong. She thought it was our deceased father, who was like, to me, he was a great dad, but he was a very negative person also. All right, so she thought it was him. Okay, he's been dead about 1.5 years now, and
Okay.
very, very negative guy, but. So she thought that it was like his presence because it felt like that strong and that negative, but she didn't know that Jody had passed either. Okay, so what we think is that I felt that opening happened right there. Okay,
Right.
and Joe, like whatever that was, and like however long that transition takes for that energy to leave the body.
Right.
It probably went straight to my mom's place. Okay, and and it happened like very suddenly, and like. She did not know that she was gone just yet, so
Right.
she's confused and negative, and reaching out to her mother at that time, and that's what my mom, that's what she was picking up on, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think that happened right before she passed?
Well, so what I felt that was in the afternoon, okay, all right,
Okay, so
and then what she felt was like later on that night.
okay, so why do you think that you had a loving experience and she had a negative experience?
Because I think I was just picking up on that veil.
Crossing over.
Yeah. I didn't feel like anyone's presence, okay, but
Okay.
But I was just picking up on like on the actual like door opening, okay,
Okay.
all right. So
Right.
to like someone very close to me,
Right.
but I didn't know what it was.
So what did your mom get out of this on her impression of what it was?
That it was like a close family member, and it was the energy that our father gave off because he was Jody and my father and another deceased sibling, Carrie. They all had like a really weird, confused, negative energy about them. Okay, and so he actually ended up committing suicide back in like 1996.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like this weird thing that's going on with the family, and so my sister, she was in a lot of pain lately, and I just love her dearly, but so I think I felt that doorway being open. Okay, my mom felt her not knowing where she's at yet because.
Oh, I get you.
See what I mean?
I get you. The limbo stage.
Exactly, because
Right.
like when people go suddenly, they don't know that they're gone.
Right, exactly.
You know,
So she was in the limbo stage.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now this gets even better. Dee, how much time we got left? All right.
It's okay.
Just
We're gonna
just
finish
do
this.
it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
gonna
great.
finish this story.
Doesn't-
Maybe like 5 more minutes.
Don't
Okay?
worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Tell it.
This
This is what we're all about right here.
This is actually, an unfortunate but fortunate, bonus story for today because
Okay.
I didn't know that any of this was going to happen. So
Right.
I figured this would be like the perfect time to like actually talk about this.
Right, yeah.
So then, last Sunday, okay, after everyone had found out, okay, I go up to Quincy, hugs, my mom and everything, and my other sister called, okay, one who actually found her, okay. She's like, Mom,
God.
yeah. So she's still state of shock, whatever. But she's like, Mom, I got to tell you the story. So she's on speakerphone, I'm listening, okay, So my sister Kathy, she's telling an incident that had just happened that morning, okay. So she's in her kitchen, making breakfast or whatever, and she has a doorway that opens like from the kitchen to the garage, right?
Okay.
It's like one of those houses like that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So she hears like this loud bang against the door, apparently. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So she's like, "What the hell is that?" And so she goes to open the door, to like see what it is, and there's a broom laying against the door.
Oh, okay. Where did the broom come from?
Well, there's like a broom in the garage somewhere, okay, but it wasn't against the door, okay, and
Right.
and a broom is a very light thing, so like in order for that to make a noise loud enough to like impact the door,
Right. You have to hit it.
a lot of force had to
Exactly.
had to move that, okay.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't know if you remember the movie Practical Magic, right? But
Yeah.
the whole thing would if a broom like falls against a doorway or something like that, it means that company's coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All
and,
right.
And both we all love that movie. So we think, okay, what happened with me? What happened with my mom? And then my sister Kathy, and a broom hitting the door. Where how the broom get from like the corner over to the door.
Right, and it was a loud knock.
Yeah, I mean
Like a knock.
Yeah, like
Okay.
like a bang, but it was just like leaning there, like so.
So you all had an experience with this passing of your sister.
Yeah, within so there was Thursday, and then Sunday, and there was I should write these down, okay? But yeah, there's a couple more incidences that have happened recently. So we don't know if she's still hanging around or
Right.
or she's like transitioning yet.
Right,
So,
exactly.
Yep.
Wow,
Well,
that's a cool story.
Yeah.
You're
So
very aware because when we were talking to Brian, remember about his daughter,
Right.
about being aware of the signs, which is what you're talking
Right,
about.
Yeah.
exactly.
And so
just
we
did
have
an
to
interview
learn-
with the guy.
We have to learn how to pick up on the butterfly thing.
yeah,
Or
and
the-
it happens with everyone, okay?
Mhm.
And, but
Yes.
a lot of people do not want to see that for what it is, or they just don't pay attention. Everyone gets help, okay?
Right.
Whenever there's a tragic a transition, a lot of people just they don't want to believe it, or they think it's against the Bible or like whatever. It's like, no, that's the other person letting you know that they're okay and they're moving on. So
Right.
you need to pick up on that.
Yeah, I've had that experience,
Yeah.
and I had that experience for quite a long time, so I actually am a believer in it too.
Yeah.
And mine was pretty profound. So I absolutely believe in being contacted, and that was
Yeah.
right after someone died too.
Sure.
But he hung around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like, I don't know, it was a long time. It was like 8 months, and then all of a sudden he disappeared.
Yeah. We don't know how it works. So.
Yeah, so it was very cool. What a great story. And I just want to say thank you so much
Well, thanks for
for
having me
being
on.
here today
Yeah.
and having somebody in person
Yeah, it was
for
terrific.
the first time, and instead of on a computer monitor, and being able to have somebody in the flesh now
Very
that
nice.
with COVID,
Yeah.
and being
Very
able to sit next to.
And very articulate about your love
Yeah, exactly.
for this, man. You got, I know why the shit's coming to. Ooh, I know why it's coming.
No,
Yeah.
thanks. Steve.
You know
Yeah.
way it's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
gonna
We're just
say,
gonna make sure we cleanse you before you leave here.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you guys
All
did great.
right,
Thank
all
you so
right.
much.
So we're gonna say over and out, and thank you for watching.